Okay, here we have the finished Gothic outdoor kitchen. To the peak of the smokestack, I believe it's 22 feet. I used 17 tons of concrete in building this. You saw the stills. We'll work those in as we go, and I'll kind of explain what I did and how I put it together. First thing was a base was figured out. That I had a truck come in, we poured it, we had a good foundation to build on. Everything from there then was built in wooden forms, and we just started at the bottom and built up. We put in a wood storage spot under here, and this is the thickest part of the concrete to support all the weight above us. And then I moved the fireplace up here because there's a deck behind, and the higher the fireplace, it's easier to see it throughout the yard. So the fireplace is all in here, lined with brick that goes up to the chimney. Big mantel shelf up here. It's electrified, and there's lights on either side. The straight part of the concrete I poured, whereas the decorative things like this are statues I found at concrete stores and worked them into it. We also have a working sink, double stainless steel sink, a stainless steel, I think it's called an ice bin, and I got this from a restaurant that was going to throw it away. So you can put your ice in here, your drinks or whatever in the bottles can set up on this thing. You've got your ice and you've got your running water. Underneath are wooden doors so you can get to your plumbing. Then on this side we've got a gas grill, and there's a hole underneath it where you can put your gas tank so that they're not seen. Then this is a wood-fired griddle. You feed the wood in through the top of the griddle or in through here, and I got this from a restaurant supply place. I think it was about $250 for the griddle, and then it has its own smokestack too. As I built the molds out of wood, I did a reverse of what I wanted it to look like when it was done. So here I've indented a little bit to give it somewhat of the Gothic look, put little pieces of wood that would give me my immediate grooves, and then I found a medallion. So when I pulled it all off after I pulled the concrete, then I had what was here. Originally I got an ebony stain to put on the top of the counters, but it didn't get the blackness that I wanted, so I ended up, after staining it, I went back with just black latex paint and put on the counters. This was an interesting design. I found some of the pieces of plastic they use interiorly when they're doing a roof to keep the insulation away, and it had all of these grooves in it. So of course when I used it in concrete, it gets a nice finish and all the grooves become a detail that came in this. So a lot of pieces of this were being at a place like Menards and just looking at different things in plastic that had some kind of a shape or design to them. Otherwise, I build it using 2x4s, plywood, and then just different things I found that I knew I could imprint and pull off of the thing. This is the back of the Gothic kitchen and the smokestack. What I did here was I was going to create a window so for a different view from this part of the yard. As it turns out, I sold the house before I finished, but the idea was I've got everything cut out and ground out so that it looks like the Gothic window. Then I was going to put a mirror here, so no matter where you're at in the yard, as you look, it would look like you're looking through a castle window, because it would reflect, you know, the trees and things that are behind it. I found these little Gothic metal toppers. I think they're used for fences or something, and I think they come from China. I found those for about $1 a piece, so I use those a lot for the trim work, and they're actually, when the concrete was wet, I set them down in there, so now they're there constantly, but they are there. You can get an idea of the height and scale of this as I stand here. I'm 6 foot tall, and I think we're about 22 feet high in this. The Gothic outdoor kitchen.